Pradip Hotchandani is now with us. Pradip, what do you make of the fall coming in the last 20 minutes? Classical ETF flows?
Hi, good afternoon, Pankaj. Just to put things into perspective, last Tuesday when I was on your show, 78.30 was the Nifty level. And I termed the rally as just a pullback rally in a medium-term downtrend. And I had said that this pullback rally can at the max extend to about 34 DMA, which at that time was 8040. As of yesterday, 34 DMA had come down to 8010 kind of level. And yesterday Nifty made a high of around 7980. So that was the kind of resistance level which was imminent, and Nifty took resistance around 34 DMA. So we still maintain the view that Nifty is still in a medium-term downtrend, and the pullback rally which we saw last week was just a pullback rally, and overall medium-term trend continues to be down. Now in the very short term, on hourly charts, Bank Nifty generated a sell in yesterday's trade, and Nifty has generated the sell on hourly charts in today's trade. So we expect this down move to extend to around 7760 on Nifty, and Bank Nifty also can go down to around 17,000. That is the next support level, 17,000.
Is the zone for Nifty?
For Nifty, it is 7760. That's where if you draw a trend line on hourly charts, that is where the next support level comes around. That is 7760, and for Bank Nifty, it's placed around 16,950.
Right. Where do you think this pressure would come in from? Would it be high beta that will lead the market down?
Yes, I think so. See, CNX Infra, that is Nifty Infra Index and Nifty Bank Index, that these two I think are the weakest among the pack. And if you see ONGC or these kind of stocks, which are, whenever selling comes, L&T. So whenever selling comes, these are the stocks which participate the most. And also Bank Nifty, if you see, as I mentioned, Bank Nifty generated sell on the early charts yesterday itself. So banking is one pack which drags the Nifty most. So I think if selling comes on Nifty, that will be led by CNX Infra Index and Bank Index.
Right. What would you make, move of DLF, the way it has moved, or RCOM, the way it has moved? You think they are going anti-markets? They can actually outperform even if the market, is flat with a negative bias?
See, RCOM is something which we talked about last week also, and I had mentioned that this is not a telecom move, but this is ADAG move. And I have mentioned that Reliance Infra, Reliance Capital, RCOM, RPower, all four ADAG stocks can move against the market, and those stocks have given decent returns over last week. So I think I had mentioned two levels on RCOM, 83 on the way up and 63 on the way down. At that time, stock was around 73, and I had asked holding on to long position with stop loss of 63 and target of 83. Now 83 is I think major hurdle area. That is the top made in last 2 months also. So if 83 is taken out decisively, then RCOM is straight away heading to around 100 levels. So still I think the bias is positive on RCOM, and I would still prefer holding on to long position, and I will trail the stop loss to around 76, and next target would be around 100 rupees.
Right, 76 should be the stop loss, and one can buy at current levels, or one should just wait on for a little bit, 1 or 2 days where we find it in red.
No, I think oscillators are clearly positive, and today's move is coming with very huge volumes. On the daily charts, it has holding above the 83 resistance level that I just mentioned. So I think if it's able to hold on to 83 level on closing basis, then even one can buy at this level and hold with the stop loss of 76. Yeah.
Right. What do you make of Havells? Again, volumes are very, very strong today, close to 300 now.
Very encouraging move. First of all, it managed to cross the 200 DMM mark couple of days back. Then it went into consolidation phase of around 6-7 trading sessions, and after this consolidation, it has again moved higher with good volumes and crossed the previous high which it made couple of days back. So I think the momentum continues to be positive on Havells counter. I think 346, which was the top made in December 2014, that is the logical target, and if that is taken out, that the stock will move into a new territory. So clearly I would continue to hold the stock with a stop loss of around 290.
Right. Pradeep, just stay on with us, about 90 seconds remaining for closing. I'll just read the closing and come back to you. In the end, we have extended some sort of losses. 68 down for Nifty, Hindalco down about 1.6, Vedanta down 2% SBI down 1.2. Tata Steel is down about 1.6%. ICICI also down 1.7. Adani Ports now closer to 260 odd levels. ONGC down 2.8. That's because of crude probably. Tata Motors was at 405 levels. Bharti down about 1% or so. BHEL down 2.8, ITC down 1.6, Bank of Baroda down about 1.7, Idea Cellular flat, but the bias was on the positive side. Actually, we can say it did outperform in the markets today. Sun Pharma down about 1%, Infosys down about 0.12, NTPC up about 0.14, Yes Bank flat with a positive bias. Ambuja Cements 1% decline, HCL Tech down about 1%, Coal India down 1%, 334, Tata Power down about 1.5, HDFC Limited down 10 rupees or so, Z Entertainment down 1%, Kane India down about closer to 1%. Again, it's a crude impact. Cipla down 1%. Wipro down closer to 1%, 572. L&T down 0.5%. TCS down about 0.6%. GAIL India down about 0.6%. HDFC Bank down a quarter. Lupin down about 2.6%. Tech Mahindra up about 0.5% or so, 542. For Tech Mahindra. IndusInd Bank 4 to 5 rupees on the higher side. HUL down about 1.2%. Power Grid down close to 1% or so. That's the closing bell. Markets have shut for the day. Provisional closing is at the bottom of your screen, 66 points. Again, in the next few minutes, we should have the adjusted close. Sensex down about 216. Dr. Reddy's down 21 rupees. Ultratech up about 3 rupees. Bajaj Auto down about 1%. ACC down 0.6. Grasim down about 1% or so. Bosch flat, absolutely flat actually for Bosch. Hindalco down about 1.6, 79 rupees. Axis Bank up about 3 to 4 rupees, 462. Vedanta down about 2%. ICICI Bank down about 2%. SBI down 1.2%. Tata Steel down 1.6, 240 rupees for Tata Steel. Top loser on your screen, BHEL was among the top losers, down about 2.8%. ONGC was down 2.7%. Lupin was down about 2.4%. PNB, Vedanta, Hero MotoCorp are some of the other losers. So PNB was down 2.4%, Vedanta down 2.3%, Hero MotoCorp down 2.5%, M&M down 1.75%. Adani Ports down 1.74%, Bank of Baroda down about 1.7%, Tata Motors down 1.7%, ICICI Bank, the ADR yesterday really lost out, and towards the end even the main share, we'll just pull up that name, ICICI. So 265, it opened at 270, but again, it was quite visible from the ADR trend that this would be a name which would be on the lower side. ITC, Hindalco, Tata Steel, HUL, some of the other losers down 1.6 to about 1.5%. Tata Power, SBI, Ambuja Cement, Cipla, Kotak Mahindra Bank down about 1% each for these names. Very handful of gainers, just about 8 names in the gaining list. Axis Bank top gainer, 0.7 higher. Tech Mahindra down up about 0.5. NTPC, IndusInd Bank up closer to about 0.25%, largely in and around between quarter and about 0.5%. Let's look at some of the other broader market gainers. That's where the action was. However, one has to say that in the last 40 minutes, even that did see some selling. So TV18 broadcast was up 10%. Amtech Auto was up about 9%. Orient Paper on your screen up closer to 20-odd%. Arcom up 6.5%. Jain Irrigation up about 5%. Havels up closer to 301 rupees. L&T Finance Holding up 3.5%. Religare Capital up 3.5%. Berger Paints, GMR Infra, Imami, M&M Financials up about 2.5 to 3-odd%. Reliance Infra, Bharat Forge, Eicher Motors, Reliance Power are some of the other gainers in the broader market space. As far as losers are concerned, Just Dial was down about 5%. Rajesh Exports down about 3%. Voltas was down 3.5%. Gujarat Pipavav down 3.7%. Apollo Tyres, JSPL, Godrej Consumer, CESE. Some of the other losers in the broader market. Pradip is still with us. Pradip, any view on Just Dial? Last time when it went to 950, you told us it will go to 750. It went till that level, but now it's again bounced back to 950 and started to correct today again. You think back to 750 levels is likely?
I think the stock gives a very sharp moves within couple of weeks. I mean, we saw the stock moving from around 740 to around 970 in 3 weeks, and from in just 1 week it's down to around 870 today. So I think stock is in a bottoming out process. I think I would hazard a guess and say that 740, the bottom we saw, is the final bottom, and the stock obviously, because it had moved sharply, it will try to consolidate around this level. But I think a long-term investor can accumulate from current level to around 740. Obviously the upboom will start once we see crossover of long-term resistances that will kick in around you see 34-week moving average, which I see as a long-term resistance, which comes around 1020, which is a far cry from this level. But I think stock will continue to be volatile within this range. But I think the final bottom, that is 740, has been made, and long-term investor will do well to accumulate the stock in this range.
Right. So you think that again to that 740 level, it may actually not go.
It can go to closer to that level or maybe retest that bottom, but I think largely around that level should be the final bottom, because we have seen positive divergence on monthly charts, and when after a substantial move of so many months, whenever a stock shows a positive divergence on monthly charts, the stock is saying that it's trying to bottom out. So I think that would be a very good level to get into the just dial from long term perspective. So yeah, one would do well to accumulate this stock from current level to around 740 or closer to 740.
Right. How would you essentially look at Voltas? Very volatile, down 3% today, was one of the buzzers in the last week.
I think the stock is trying to consolidate around its 34-week moving average, and that's where it got resistance last time also, when it made a high of 300 in October, and that is the region from where it is continuously finding resistance. So that region, that is 300, would be the crucial resistance level on the way up. If that is taken out, then I think the stock would come into medium term uptrend and can go to 360 kind of level. But till then, I would hold my horses and not get into Voltas.
Right. How would some of the other names in the mid cap shape up? Because we've really seen the rally that we've seen in the mid cap space in the last 4-5 days is something which is probably not the normal names or the names that we generally tend to see. We spoke about the ADAG pack. Any view on Jain Irrigation? It was up 5%. Volumes were close to 5 million. Then I'll give you some other stocks.
I think Jain Irrigation is looking interesting. It consolidated around its 200 DMA for around, if I can say, around one and a half months or so, and then it has after it has broken out that whole range with a very good volume. So I think Jain Irrigation can again move up to around 77, 78 kind of level which it touched in August. So clearly Jain Irrigation is looking interesting. Talking from our side, a couple of interesting mid caps I find is Petronet is one, which I think I mentioned last week also. Other mid cap stocks in auto space, we like TVS Motors, then Steel Strip Wheels is another stocks, all cargo in logistics space. So these are a couple of mid cap stocks which we find interesting.
Right. How would you look at the auto names, especially the two-wheeler names? Eicher, Bajaj Auto, Hero, all of them did see buying when the numbers were actually quite poor for them for the month of November.
I think among two-wheeler space, I think as I mentioned, TVS Motor is one which we look like the most. The stock has broken out after a consolidation of nearly a year, and current weakness which we have seen on the back of news of Chennai flood and all. I think this is a very good buying opportunity. Bajaj Auto we like compared to Hero MotoCorp, so that will come second in preference. Eicher Motors I will avoid because the stock, as I had mentioned last time also, is showing negative divergence on its monthly charts after a huge run up. So that is a case for a further correction or at least a time wise consolidation for next at least couple of months. So I don't think Eicher Motor is going to give positive returns over next couple of months. TVS Motor would be the first preference, followed by Bajaj Auto.
What will be your targets and stop loss for TVS?
TVS Motor from an investment perspective, that is around 6 to 10 months perspective, we are working with a target of around 370, and the stop loss we are working with is around 240. That's where its deep stop loss on weekly charts is placed. So 240 to 230 is a region, support region. That is what the stop loss should be. On the higher side, 370 would be the major target.
Right. What would you go ahead and look at as far as Bharat Forge is concerned? Again, a big underperformer from the highs. You had told that it could go to the 850 levels. It's at the 850 levels. But do you think it is making a bottom at these levels?
I think I would bet on one more down leg which can take the stock to around 650 700 region. That's why I think the durable bottom would be made. So I would still consider it a case of sell on rallies, but in the short term I think it made a positive divergence on daily charts. So in the very short term it can give a pullback, some more pullback, but I think one last leg of downside is left where it can find major bottom, it can form a major bottom in the 650 to 700 region, and that's where investor can accumulate.
Right. As far as some of the large cap names, or just going back to the traditional large cap names is concerned, Lupin saw activity yesterday. Today gave up most of the activity it saw. You think Lupin can do well?
I think Lupin at best can consolidate in this range. In the large cap pharma space, Sun Pharma had already broken down on its weekly chart. Dr. Reddy was to follow. I think Lupin is one stock which is still holding on to its support levels. I think 1590 is the very important support level on the way down, and on the higher side 2100 2150 is the region where it's repeatedly finding resistance. So I think Lupin is at best a case of hold. Long position which I have to create, I would not look at into the pharma space, because pharma as a space, large cap as well as mid cap pharma have given very decent return over past many years. I think next couple of months, or even from a 1.5 years perspective, I think pharma would be the sector which can underperform, and other stocks which I mentioned can give higher return.
Right. Just a last word on HUL. It was up 3% yesterday, signs of breakout, but today down again 1.5%.
I think HUL also in the short term it continues to be in the downtrend. However, medium term charts continue to look good. I think its 200 DMA continues to be a major resistance level on the upper side, which is placed around 860. On the lower side, it made a very good base forming around level of 770. That's why it made many bottoms in last 1.5 months. So I think it's still a case of a range bound move. 770 on the way down is a very important support, and on the way up 860 is the important resistance.
Right. Pradeep, thank you so much for taking out time for us. Always a pleasure talking to you.